As we all know, we've told leadership to spend 50% of their time on the floor, coaching and being servant leaders. What we still need to work on is how to bring that servant leadership to life. This video will show how we can drive an HPO culture through coaching that is consistent with servant leadership. We want HPO organizations, and we believe true servant leadership has and will deliver these. By constantly accompanying our teams on the floor, we learn and experiment together as we develop their capability and empower decision-making. Early in people's development, they need more time in coaching and therefore less autonomy. On the other hand, as they become more capable, they will gradually need less direction and guidance. The goal is to be somewhere in the middle of the model. This picture helps us to visually convey servant leadership. The only place where value is truly added from the consumer's point of view is on the line, by the people who touch and transform product. And this is not about whether other people's work is important or if we value them. It's just grounding us in what's ultimately meaningful to the consumer. All the other people, systems, work processes, and activity are there to support the success of that core mission. The primary way a leader contributes to that goal is by developing and enabling the people they support. Removing barriers, building the capability to eliminate loss, and reducing time spent on non-value-added activities. This is the role of the leader. Then we must ask ourselves, is this where we spend a majority of our time? Do we role model this objective? Now let's talk about how we manage results, particularly when results are off track. How do you respond to a result or status that is red? We're usually very interested in digging into the details of the problem solving. At P&G, our first instinct is to ask, why is it red? Or say, tell me what happened. A servant leader would ask, what help is needed to turn that red into green? There are many advantages to this approach. It exhibits confidence in your people. It reminds them that you are a source of assistance. You expect them to give you some direction on what help looks like to them. And you expect them to participate in generating solutions to the problem. It focuses energy on moving forward versus looking backward. Sure, you need to understand the root cause, but you'll get a sense for how thoroughly people have penetrated when you see the details of their follow-up. It creates more of a coaching environment than an inspection of their problem-solving process. The idea is to use red primarily to draw and focus the leader's attention on where the help is needed. There is no sense of shame associated with the condition, and leaders generally share in the responsibility for making the improvement because they know they're expected to add value. Some of the habits and behaviors of a servant leader should include self-awareness of your own tendencies and traits, ability to listen, really listen, and not think ahead. Changing the pyramid paradigm is more than just flipping the pyramid. It's about demonstrating it with actions. Developing your colleagues. Note that colleagues include peers as well as direct reports. Coaching, not controlling. And here we go back to the connection with the HPO model. Adjusting according to situation and capability. Unleashing the energy and intelligence of others is not an empowerment outcome, but a deliberate, proactive effort to extract it. It's an action we have to practice constantly. Foresight, which is a behavioral practice that enables the leader to be of service to the broader organization. They have a responsibility to watch the horizon so the organization can stay focused on the task at hand. So we've now talked about the behaviors of servant leadership and hopefully given you some of the feeling of it. But let's get practical. How do we bring this to life on our manufacturing floors every day? When viewed by the technician on the floor, they are looking to their leaders to provide 4 things. Set direction, ID and prioritize loss, help solve problems and remove barriers, develop yourself and your people. As we seek to create a problem-solving culture, we must exhibit 2 critical behaviors. 1. Humble inquiry. 2. Helpful coaching. These two behaviors are best embodied in the following actions. Ask open-ended questions that truly seek to learn what the other person knows. Ask questions you don't think you already know the answer to. Ask questions that show respect for the other's ability to think. Again, you must believe that people are intellectually capable to think and learn. This is directly linked to our foundational HBO principle of respecting the capability of all individuals. There are 3 types of questions that each have different purposes and elicit different responses. Closed-ended questions are questions that can only be answered by selecting from a limited number of options, usually multiple choice, yes or no, or on a rating scale. Closed-ended questions give limited insight, but can be easily analyzed for quantitative data. A leading question is a question which subtly prompts the respondent to answer in a particular way. Open-ended questions are ones that require more than one-word answers. The answers could come in the form of a list, a few sentences, or something longer. Depending on the type of information you seek, each type of question can be useful. Although in coaching, it is better to use open-ended questions, as they enable problem-solving thinking. When it comes to coaching, a lot is in the how. You want to focus your questions in a way that it doesn't feel like a judging interrogation, but a genuine intent to understand more to help bring down the barriers. This includes wording, tone of voice, even body language. The line of questioning must suggest that you trust in the person's capability, and you want to empower them to independently identify and eliminate losses. As you ask the questions, you have to keep in mind, who's doing the thinking? As we wish to develop a problem-solving mindset in our people, it is important when we ask questions to be aware of who owns the thinking. Our questions should invite the person to think carefully about the situation, look at it from different angles, and from that thought process, come up with possible solutions. As we go on practicing our ability to coach others, we need to keep in mind that we are doing this to serve our teams and our organization. These skills only get stronger with practice and experience, so take every chance you get on the floor to accompany that development process together with your team. As you work on the how, don't lose sight of the why. As Toyota's Mr. Cho describes in The Essence of Coaching, give him or her the job as their own. Let them think. Let them try. Help him or her to see. Force reflection. This is coaching for development through the job to do the job.